Before there were Tiger's Reds and Rickie's Oranges, golfers rocked high socks, sweater vests, and enough plaid to start a lumberjack union. Golf fashion has gone from classy to cringe to cool, looping through history like a well-played back nine. So today we're not just talking fabric, we're talking identity. This is the story of golf fashion through the decades. Golf starts way back even before your great-great-grandparents were born. But in that era, try to picture yourself in Scotland in the 1500s, standing on a windy, chilly golf course. Back then, golf was actually banned for a while because the king wanted people to practice archery instead. But once the ban was lifted, thanks to King James IV, who loved the game, people started playing, and they had to dress for the weather. Men wore heavy tweed jackets and caps, stiff collars, knickerbocker pants that stopped at the knees, and tough shoes. These outfits back then weren't for show, but they kept golfers warm and dry when the wind was howling across the moors. Now, if you were a woman back then and wanted to play golf, things were even trickier because women had to wear long, heavy skirts, blouses, and big hats. It was all about being proper and modest. But honestly, it must have been tough to swing a club in all that fabric. I mean, there's even a story about Mary Queen of Scots playing golf in a full gown. Yes, a gown. Imagine trying to put while your dress is dragging across the green. As more people started picking up the game, that kind of outfit just didn't cut it anymore. Golfers began looking for clothes that still looked sharp, but actually let them move, swing, and, breathe. Style was still important, sure, but now it had to work with the game, not against it. That shift really started to show in the 1920s. Fashion everywhere was changing, and golf was no exception on the course. Things got a major makeover. For men, the look was all about style with a bit of flair. They wore flat caps, neckties, single-breasted jackets, and something called +4s. Those baggy pants that stopped just below the knee. Long socks and two-tone spectator shoes were everywhere. And if you've ever seen old photos of Bobby Jones, one of the most legendary golfers ever, you'll know. He made golf look cool, confident, and just a little more relaxed. And it wasn't just the guys stepping up their style game. Women were making bold moves too. Gone were the heavy floor-length skirts. Instead, women started rocking sleeveless dresses, shorter skirts, and even pleated shorts. The flapper era had arrived, and it brought a sense of freedom and fun to the fairway. Hairstyles got shorter and sleeker, making it way easier to play. Plus, golf-specific shoes became a thing for both men and women, so you could look sharp and actually grip the course while doing it. That momentum carried into the next decade, the 1930s. Now, this era didn't bring any wild fashion revolutions, but there were some subtle and interesting shifts. For men, golf started becoming more of a casual after-work activity, which meant they often showed up in what they were already wearing. Think suit pants or full-length trousers, a button-down shirt, and usually no tie unless it was a special tournament. It's kind of funny to picture someone loosening their tie, rolling up their sleeves, and heading straight to the course after a long day at the office. Women's golf fashion, on the other hand, kept evolving. With more women joining the game, their outfits started to reflect that balance of function and style. Matching two-piece sets, typically a skirt and a top, became popular, along with pleated skirts paired with cozy cardigans or sweater vests. Compared to the heavy dresses of the past, this was a huge leap forward. Not only did it look cleaner and more modern, but it also let women actually move around the course comfortably. That shift toward comfort and practicality only grew stronger in the 1940s. This is when golf fashion really started to resemble what we see today. For men, short-sleeved knit tops and lightweight pants or shorts became common, often in khaki or subtle checkered prints. Spiked golf shoes also started to catch on. Players like Ben Hogan helped popularize this more relaxed athletic look. Open neck polos, pleated slacks, and outfits that said, "I'm here to play," not just to pose for a photo. Women's fashion in the 40s followed a similar path. The focus was on fitted blouses and pleated skirts, pieces that offered movement without sacrificing polish. It was the first real decade where looking sharp and feeling comfortable finally started working together. You could still look proper, but now you could actually play like it too. The 1950s brought even more freedom, especially for women's skirts finally crept above the ankle, and you'd see them paired with simple blouses and sweaters on warm days. Sleeveless blouses became popular. There was a big focus on the waistline too, thanks to Christian Dior's new look. Cinched waists were all the rage, even on the golf course. For men, comfort was the new trend. The days of formal gray suits were over. Instead, men wore knitted golf shirts, colorful, lightweight trousers, shorts, and Oxford shoes. The first knitted golf shirt was introduced in this decade, and it changed everything. Suddenly, golfers could move more easily and stay cool on the course. It was like the sport was finally catching up with the times. The 1960s were all about trying new things. This is when golf fashion really started to pop with patterns, bright colors, and new materials. If you look up pictures of Arnold Palmer, you'll see him in cardigans and sweaters that are bright red or yellow. He definitely stood out. TV was becoming more popular, so people at home could see what the pros were wearing and wanted to copy their style. For women, skirts kept getting shorter, and the skort made its debut, a mix of a skirt and shorts, perfect for swinging a club without worrying about your outfit. There were also tunics, culottes, and flowy dresses, so women could pick what felt best for them. And then the wildest decade for golf fashion arrived, the 1970s. If you think of disco and funky colors, you've got the right idea. Both men and women started wearing form-fitting pants and bell-bottoms, and synthetic fabrics like polyester took over. Men loved wide-collared shirts in shades of brown, while women went for bold, bright colors. And with golf becoming more visible on TV, those eye-catching outfits inspired players everywhere to make bold style choices of their own. That boldness only got bigger in the 1980s. Golf fashion really turned up the volume, sometimes literally. This was the era of big music, big hair, and even bigger golf outfits. Loud colors, wild patterns, and neon shades became the norm. Oversized shirts and pants were all the rage, and sun protection started becoming a bigger deal too. That explains the extra-wide visors and big-brimmed hats. The 80s were about innovation. This decade brought major advances in golf apparel tech. Moisture-wicking fabrics started showing up, helping players stay cool and dry out on the course. And while some golfers leaned into the future, others gave a respectful nod to the past, bringing back classics like traditional knickers, but now reimagined with modern materials. As the 90s rolled in, golf fashion took another turn, this time into the world of big brands. Suddenly, names like Nike, Levi's, and Tommy Hilfiger were showing up on polos, hats, and even golf shoes. Logos became statements. If you played golf, you probably had a favorite brand, and you wanted people to know it. But while the branding got louder, the fashion itself actually calmed down a bit. Gone were the neon explosions of the 80s. In came the neutral tones, khaki navy, white paired with clean classic styles. Polo shirts and chinos dominated the fairways, and golf shoes got softer and more flexible, but still offered solid grip. Some golfers leaned into tartan sweaters and plaid patterns as a nod to the game's Scottish roots. The focus was on looking sharp, professional, and a little bit sporty without being too flashy. That clean, refined look carried straight into the 2000s, but now with a bigger emphasis on performance. The 2000s were all about playing your best and dressing for it. Golfers started demanding clothes that could keep up with their swing, lightweight, stretchy, and breathable. So we saw a rise in performance fabrics like polyester blends and moisture-wicking cotton, designed to help players stay cool and move freely during long rounds. Style-wise, things stayed pretty simple. Neutral colors like beige, gray, and white dominated the scene, and the classic khaki and polo combo was everywhere. Sure, a few players still made bold choices with bright colors or flashy patterns, but most stuck with comfort and fit over flash. In the 2000s, 10s golf fashion loosened up again. Bright colors and funky patterns made a comeback, and suddenly the course looked a lot more lively. You'd spot golfers rocking wild printed shirts, bold colored pants, and even golf shoes that looked more like sneakers than anything you'd find in a pro shop a decade earlier. It was clear players wanted to show off a little personality, both in their game and their gear. New materials kept improving, lighter, stretchier, more breathable, so golfers could still swing easy and stay cool. And now here we are in the 2000s and 20s, where golf fashion is all about blending high-tech gear with personal expression. Today's players wear clothing that adapts to just about any weather. Think hoodies that double as jackets, water-resistant joggers and beanies, or neck warmers. For chilly morning rounds, the fabrics are smarter than ever, engineered to keep you dry, warm, or cool depending on the forecast. But what's really exciting is how much freedom golfers have. Now you'll see every kind of color print and silhouette out there. Even styles that used to be against dress codes like hoodies are now totally in. Thanks to social media, golfers can show off their fits just as much as their swings, inspiring a whole new generation to hit the course their own way. If you want to see how golf fashion changes over time, just look at the Players' Championship. This tournament has been around for 50 years, and it's like a fashion time machine. In the 1970s, you'd see players in brown polyester pants, wide-collared shirts, and even bell-bottoms, yes, just like disco dancers. In the 1980s, things got bolder with bright colors and wild patterns, and sometimes even oversized shirts and pants. Nike and Tommy Hilfiger were everywhere. In the 2000s, things calmed down a bit. Players wore more muted traditional colors. Now in the 2000s and 20s, the Players is all about creative expression and high-tech gear. Golf is a sport that loves its traditions, but it's also not afraid to try new things. Golf fashion keeps evolving, and who knows what the next big trend will be. If you have a favorite golf fashion era or a style you love, let me know in the comments. Don't forget to subscribe for more fun stories about golf fashion and everything in between. See you next time.